Yo, welcome to Crate 808, and today we bring you our first Hidden Gem album review for the Patreon. So it's a nice little clip for you to see what's going on over there. The patrons all voted over the last month to see which album they wanted us from the 90s to dig out, dust off, and dive in. And we went with Masta Ace Incorporated, SlaughtaHouse, 1993, absolute cult classic. One of my favourites was Bumped back on the Manitas days. So yes, we went into it with my man Ray Ridge, and yeah, hope you enjoy this. If you do, patreon.com/crate808, get in there, sub to us, help support the show. We'd love it if you can join part of the community. We have live shows every month. We got extra episodes for people who sub as well, up to 2 new episodes every month. So yeah, check that out, and here's a little taster of what you could get. Boom. Remember the context of this album, and people who haven't heard this album, obviously we do these gem reviews, but more than anything, we want you to go visit the album and tell us what you think about it, even if you've heard it before. But the context, we've always got to remember, in the 90s, it was so different to where we're at now.
Well, I mean, we'll get into it, but it's in a lot of ways, it's not different, which is the kind of the tragedy of, not of the album, because it's where we are now. Anyway.
True. No, you're right.
In relation to the experience of the black man in America kind of thing. And
absolutely. Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. But if you think about it as a hip-hop culture, industry politics, on top of that, just Sonics, just what Sonics are doing, and the fact that on this album, he is angry, yes. 1993, he's coming off of this post-chronic swamp mess of hip-hop that at first, when I was a kid, that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. But I'm so glad as I matured and got older, there was other people out there just giving you another dimension into the experience of what it's like to be in hip hop in 1993. We're sick of G-Funk. We're sick of these. No, not G-Funk as in the sounds, but the limited, blinkered, stereotypical, cliche way G-Funk was becoming. On The Chronic, on Doggy Style, there's social commentary, there's rage, there's literally Lady of Rage, there's so many other things to go with the stereotype, right? But the stereotype becomes crystallized over this time. In 93, Masta Ace Incorporated, I can see why they were fucked off about it. And the context is that this album is a severe, on one hand, a severe takedown of gangsterisms and all these like kind of one-dimensional characters that hip-hop industry was selling because it was easy. It was easy money for them. But what I love about it as well, it does have social commentary. It does have a bit more insight. And above all, it has wordplay, which is just ridiculous. Like, I remember hearing this and I fell in love with Masta Ace at this time. And I'd heard this after Long Hot Summer. So Long Hot Summer was and it's so different to see the artist grow from that to that. But the context being that, I think that you have to have that in it, and then you see why he's angry and why they've attacked it like an angry piece of work. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's my take on the anger.
Yeah, totally. I mean, because obviously, you know, Masta Ace chills out over the years, and like the Son of Yvonne album, like I've just rinsed that just front to back over and over, just all of it. Just, you know, the love of your mum, the love of your mates, the stuff that he has across that album, and I feel like it's the same mates that are on this you know, on the SlaughtaHouse album that are who he's referring to in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Imagine me and you hearing this, we'd have reacted exactly the same way because we were like that. We were heads like that. And he said he was listening to 2 rappers. He didn't name them. And they were on Stretch and Bob, I think, right? And I think it was like they played their old track. Stretch and Bob played a track. And they were like, oh, this is one of your old tracks. And it was a very lovey-dovey, Masta Ace calls it quite corny track, right? Then they flipped to the guys and they're like, yeah, that's 2 years ago. That's a year ago. That's not us anymore. And then they dropped one of their famous, you know, freestyles on Bob and Stretch and Bob. And it's just ridiculous how brazen it was because you've just played a lovey-dovey track, right? And then these guys started talking about guns and gats and AKs and how big their fucking wallets were and all that. And Masta Ace was listening to this live on radio and he was like, this is fucking ridiculous. You've just got... And that's what we'd have done, I feel. I think we'd have seen through that and have been like, what the fuck are you doing? I know, like, it was the Wild West and the rules weren't written, so these guys probably didn't know that it was such a big left-hand turn, but you can see if it's selling, people get Late Model Sedan is one of them tracks that we talk about hidden gems as well, don't we, right? And most rewindables. The problem with the hidden gem album review is all of these are hidden gems. Like, that's the problem. So my hidden gem column is massive, but Late Model Sedan is that. It has that... He's what he does with that track and what you've just said is with one track, he's showing you all this gangster rap you love. If you just peel away a few layers, it becomes utterly more complex and more mesmerizing and engaging to listen to. Because at that point you are like, oh, I'm not just hearing about the other guy you've killed. I'm hearing about why you killed him, who he was, and why it's a never-ending seemingly never-ending cycle.
I mean, this is Late Model Sedan. It's also got the it's got like the Boys in the Hood kind of element to it. You know, the kind of
I had that written down.
Ricky getting shot by the guy in the back with a shotgun. You know that, and that's got the reference at the end of the track, and it's but also like it's strange that like the beat is happier than the subject. Like the beat, it's a funky beat. It's a beat you put on, and maybe you won't pay attention to the lyrics and just enjoy the music. But then you kind of tune into what he's saying, and it's like, oh fuck, that's actually quite serious. Yeah,
yeah. And that is although a lot of the beats are quite dark, he has some funk and like some bottom end shit on this, which is just unreal. But yeah, and you're right. And I think the fact that if you're taking the gangsterisms of top selling, like the cartoonish. You know, it's such a cartoon. If you think about 93, 94, like literal cartoons on Doggy Style's album cover, but it feels such a cartoonish time that everything was so hyper what it was. But he takes that and just pulls it down and grounds it in reality. And that's quite a hard thing to do. And I don't even know if anyone wanted to do it back then, but he wanted to do it because he cared so much about the culture and the music, I suppose, and his own people, obviously, as well. And it really reminds me of the roots of that kind of, we can talk about all the plus shit and all the other shit, but let's ground it in reality and give it utterly more dimensions. It reminds me of Good Kid, Bad City. Like Kendrick did that. Like he took all that, you know, DJ quickness, you know, of what West Coast is, and then ground it down and just sort of said, no, this is the reality of what happens. But the bars you said there about Boys in the Hood, and I've got them bars, but some of the hottest bars of his album, there's so many. His on-beat, off-beat flow, you can see why Eminem puts him so highly. And why he wrote for people like Will Smith and stuff like that. Like Masta Ace came on the pod, so do go check that episode out. He talked about all of that, and he was talking about how you're talking about putting it in your ride. He say him and D12, members of D12, would be riding around Detroit, playing this over and over. And he'd go, the tape would pop, and they just go and get another tape. And he said they just got several tapes. And M, obviously becoming M, has talked to Masta Ace about this and said to him, SlaughtaHouse was my go-to. And I love the fact he wears the SlaughtaHouse tees when he's touring, and it's like good, like people need to know about this.
He's representing,
absolutely. And the bars on this where he's how many kids get shot talking that throw you up your hand shit and fight like a man but don't get to land shit, and you're like, yeah, fuck, like fighting like a man it's like Boys in the Hood, like you said, you know, that whole we can scrap, but now everyone's got a fucking gun. So Masta Ace isn't just coming off of his album, he's now producing with a crew and helming a crew. He's doing a lot of shit like RZA. You know, RZA, oh no, he's not RZA, but it's interesting that he thought he had that fortitude to do that. Hidden gems, mate. I can't believe it took us this long. We're 40 minutes in. We haven't even got into the title track, SlaughtaHouse. I used to talk to you about SlaughtaHouse, right? SlaughtaHouse, right? This fucking journey from parodying gangster rap to the point, like the parodies. So the guys are called, what are they fucking called now? Ignorant MC and someone else. I can't remember what the other guy's called, but he's parodying these people, these hardcore rap people. Yeah. And they're talking about the video's great. They're in a meat factory. What we need more hip hop in meat factory videos, I feel.
Oh, yeah. We should have only them.
right? And shut up, only them. And they're not just parodying the gangster trope of like, I've got a chainsaw in my holster, which is a line I always loved. Like, fuck that. He's not even got like a gun or a sword. It's a fucking chainsaw he's got. And we're fucking, even the first line is like, we're fucking kill anyone. We'll kill anything. And it's so extreme. But the fact, let's not sleep on the fact that they sample stuff like Funky Worm, More Bounce to the Ounce. So it has that G-Funk. We're taking G-Funk down as well a little bit, a notch or two, because you're sampling shit that you always sample, you know, Funky Worm. You're always sampling Funky Worm, or, you know, James Brown stuff like the drummer, Gimme Drummer some like stuff like that. But the way they take the piss out of that on that track, and then that middle bit with Paula Perry and him like deaf to the whack MCs, deaf to the whack MCs, that comes in, and the fucking brutal beat switch. I just love beat switches, and you know I do. And I do think maybe for patrons we need to do a beat switch playlist. You know, I'm working on a flute and xylophone one. I don't know if a beat switch one has to happen, but hit me up with your favourite beat switches, crate808.gmail.com.
Yeah,
but
that could be a good
beat
playlist.
switch in SlaughtaHouse. Yeah, SlaughtaHouse beat switch, unbelievable. A hidden gem, which is also most rewindable, which I also think has aged the best. Crazy Drunken Style. Now,
finally, I've been waiting for this moment to have my beer. Yeah.
to get his beer out. Finally.
Cheers.
I love this track, right? So much so because I find it so weird. The rest of the album, although there is, you know, weird moments to it and, you know, transitions and stuff, this is the standout weird moment of the album for me, is Crazy Drunken Style. Because in terms of production, it's so odd. It's teetering on being offbeat and shit. Like, this could be really shit, but it's actually really brilliant. And what I love about it is it would 100% work today. It would 100% work today.
Yeah.
Because underground rap, there's this weirdness to people like Fatboy Sharif, and I think something like this is something that makes you think a bit differently about what you could write. It's hard to rhyme on as well, I bet. But I had non-90s rappers on this album, and I had J Hus Kingpin on this. J Hus Kingpin on this, or Fatboy Sharif, someone like that does it, who doesn't, you know, who's willing to career off a little bit. I love this track for that. Well, there you go. Masta Ace Incorporated, SlaughtaHouse. Go out there now and bump that. And Disposable Arts and Long Hot Summer. Just check out Masta Ace's catalogue generally, because the man is a legend and deserves more love. And he's been on the pod, so go check out crate808.com if you want to find the episode. And yes, patreon.com/crate808. Subscribe to this as well. Tell your friends, review it. Spotify, go on there, give it 5 out of 5 if you think it's right. You know, I hope you do after all this. But yes, big up, catch you soon, and yeah, we'll see you on the flip side. Boom.